and welcome to Online Safety, supporting parents to help keep their children safe online. Just a bit of background, I'm Mrs Yale. I'm an ICT and computing teacher here at Deer Park Secondary School. I've been a teacher for 12 years now. I'm also a Google certified educator. So I'm just going to be talking you through the eSafety slides and how we can keep the children safe online. So eSafety, whose job is it to teach this to the kids? Well, everyone's on the screen really. So in ICT we'll have lessons, the senior leadership team talk about it, the pastoral team, the tutors, the teachers, and also you, the parents. At Deer Park we do lots already to keep the children safe and inform them about eSafety themes and features. We have things like Cyber Internet Day, I'll just combine the two, Safer Internet Day and Stop Cyberbullying Day, where we run one-off ICT lessons. We have an entire scheme of work in ICT that we teach the children. We have encryption on our Google Suite, so we are big on security and monitoring the accounts, and we have filter alerts, so the technical team at our Waldron Academy Trust are informed if anything crops up. So we already do lots already. I'm just going to talk you through the website because there are some little links that I'll talk about throughout this session. So here's the eSafety and CEOP link. You'll find it on the homepage of the Deer Park website. And if you click on news and you click on eSafety and CEOP, it will take you to the page. There are lots of different posters that you will see that crop up on our newsletters every fortnight, and if you just want to click through them, there's a wealth of information there, so feel free to browse through those. As you can see, there are quite a few, but they are brilliant. Have a look at those. If there's any problems that you need to report yourself or your children, there's a little eSafety CEOP button. So again, on the home page on the right hand side there, a little button there if needed, and that will take you to the CEOP page. And if you didn't know already, that's the Child Exploitation and Online Protection website there. Feel free to have a little look at that. So online safety, I'm going to start off with social media because this one obviously plays a big part. So this is last year's kind of stats, and as you can see, Facebook is still pretty popular, YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram, the usual ones. TikTok is on the rise, so that number is slightly higher even now. We found that in COVID people were spending more time on their devices, so if you have a little look at the stats there, an increase especially in teenagers on the use of mobiles, laptops. So this is why we feel like it's even more important now to talk about online safety. And these are the kind of things that they found were increased during COVID-19. So these are the activities, so watching more shows, streaming platforms like Netflix, spending longer on social media. So they couldn't go and socialise with people in the real world, so socialising with people online, messenger services like Facebook Messenger, and various different forums, Spotify, that kind of thing. So again, some interesting kind of stats for you to go over once the presentation's finished. It's a really interesting one to point out that actually there are lots of age restrictions on social media. So I talk to the students in my ICT lessons in particular about the use of Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, and actually there is an age restriction. They should be 13. A lot of them are 13 plus, so that means with your consent as the parent they can use it. So things like WhatsApp, we're happy for the students to have family groups and things like that. YouTube is a big one because a lot of them use it for educational use. They have their own channels, so we promote that. That's brilliant. But as you can see, there are lots that they technically shouldn't be on, so that's a really interesting one for you just to have a look at. So for the first lesson of ICT, they create themselves what we call an avatar. So it's an image that looks like them, but it's not a real photo. And we talk about safe profile photos. So if they haven't already, we would urge them to create themselves an avatar. Something like faceyourmanga.com is a really good website. And we tell them to delete any old profile photos they have, or make it friends only, so that only they can see. So I'm going to talk to you about a couple of apps. I chose these ones because I spoke to the students and I asked them which ones they thought were popular. So TikTok was one that came out top, I'd say, for our Deer Park students. Really popular. Sam Ryder, for instance, rose to TikTok fame, and lots of them seem to be quite inspired by popular TikTokers who have kind of risen to fame through TikTok. So it's a really, really popular one. So I'd say it must be private. It's a difficult one because obviously they'd like it to be open so that they get more followers and then they become more popular. But I always say keep it private. If you keep it private, then only your friends can comment. Otherwise, just anyone can comment and anyone could cyberbully, for instance. Be aware of fake accounts. So there are many fake accounts out there, and again, people that could use the app to bully online. There are a few dangerous challenges. As adults, we probably know of quite a few of the TikTok challenges. Some of them we might find quite funny. Some of them we might know through comedians that we know of, and they take on these challenges. But actually, it can be quite dangerous. I believe there was a challenge where kids had to hold their breath or something similar, and one child actually ended up dying, unfortunately. So just be really aware. It might even be a good idea for you to create yourself an account and get on there and see what challenges are out there, but just be really aware and mindful of that. And actually it's mainly about discussing the dangers, having the time to sit with your children and discuss the kind of dangers that could be out there. I'd say moderate the screen time if you can. So I know with my kids, we've got like a limit on how much time they can have on their tablets. Your usernames. So there's just a couple of examples there. The I Love Football 240545. Actually, make sure the username is something that only their friends could guess. Don't make it their full names, that kind of thing, because as it says there, is the #1 site for adult on child abuse, unfortunately. There's a poster there, and again that will be linked on our Deer Park website, so feel free to have a little look. So there's lots of brilliant advice there. Another one that's still popular, although kind of dying out a little bit, is Snapchat. So for those who don't know, it's just about sharing photos and stories online. They tend to be popular because the story will then disappear after a certain amount of time. So it's a funny one. It's quite a negative, or as you can see there, it says it was ranked 4th most negative app in terms of having an impact on young people's health and well-being, because a lot of people were using it to add filters. It was kind of like the original filter app, I suppose, and a lot of students were using it, especially in lockdown, because the app loses the images after a certain amount of time. But as I've said there, don't forget we can all take screenshots, so just telling the students to be careful of how they're using it. Snap streaks, so this was putting pressure on students to keep up their streaks, because you're rewarded for those. And snap maps, so this uses the device's location information and pins all the users on a virtual map. So again, just being careful with that one. And sexting, that's another big one. There's a little support link there as well. Okay, and moving on to Roblox. A few students had said that they had used it in the past. You know, they'd used it when they were a bit younger. Some people have outgrown it, which I thought was interesting because it's actually a 13 plus, which I didn't actually know until I came to researching these apps for today's session. But it allows children to create their own games and worlds for other people to play. So it gives users a lot of freedom. But unfortunately it does mean that children could be exposed to things that adults would be exposed to, like weapons or violence or graphic content. You know, there's no age restrictions basically, so it relies on people to report the negative content. It's multiplayer, so they can play with other people. Mostly free, but a few people that I know have been caught out with the Robux in-game purchases, so be careful your card's not linked or whatever. I would just give a few tips. It's not a bad one to play, but just maybe play Roblox with your child, or if you don't fancy that, just stay nearby so you can see what's going on. You can actually disable the in-game chat, so they can't actually just chat to randoms. And then you can block and report, so they have got human and bot moderators who you can report things to. And I'd say make sure their social media account's not listed on that one, because if it is, then people can then get to their social media, and make sure no private information is linked. But again, there's a poster, so feel free to have a look at that in a bit more detail. Gaming is a big one that comes up. It's an interesting one because, you know, we all know someone that plays a game and they talk to someone that's maybe they wouldn't be friends with in the real world. And I always say to the students, you know, would you be friends with them in the real world? Do you like what they're saying? If not, block them. And the PEGI ratings. So again, you know, the PEGI ratings are there for a reason. You know, if it's a 12 plus, it's usually going to have a bit of violence, or something quite graphic. 16 plus, it's going to have some kind of violence, but you know, it could have something that's sexual, it could have drugs. So have a little look at the PEGI ratings. I would try and say no for as long as you can. If you're saying no and a few more parents are saying no to a game, then you know, you can all buddy up and say nope, none of you can download that game. You know, work together with other parents. I'd say they shouldn't be identifiable by on-screen gaming names, so their gaming tag, they call it, should be something that can't identify them. This is an interesting video that was shown a few years back.
Schmidt, Peters, Jansen, Hermanns. Is your son home?
Yes, he's up in his room. Come in. Hi, it's Classy here. Yeah, upstairs. Well then, we'll go up and try out some kinky stuff. Yeah, okay.
Good location. Where's Klaus?
There.
Good afternoon.
Oh, hello.
Is this little Anna? You've got a nice bunny. Come on, I'll show you a real bunny. In real life, you would protect your children. So why not protect them on the internet? ClickSafe.de.
So that was Where's Klaus. That was a ClickSafe advert, just reminding parents of the importance of internet safety. So just a little reminder, have a look at the PEGI ratings, have a look at what they're sharing online, and work together as parents. So it's mainly about the critical thinking skills. It's not about saying to the students, look, you can't use this, you're not to be seen doing this. Actually, it's about the critical thinking skills they need to use to remain safe online, rather than the app or the game that they're actually using. So I've put together 10 kind of rules for social media. The first one I'd always say is put your display name as something that isn't your doesn't include your surname. You know, it's not your real name, if you like. Okay, maybe your first and your middle name, but not your full name. Change the profile picture, as I've already said, to something like an avatar or something that you like, a hobby. Check the privacy settings. We do go through this in our ICT lessons and show the students how to change the privacy settings on their phones or their apps, but maybe go through their phones and check. Be careful tagging friends in images or posts, just because we don't mind having our image on a piece of social media. Actually, maybe a friend would mind, so just get them to check that their friends are okay with it. Don't share anything publicly that they wouldn't want to show just anyone. You know, and keep it clean. I always say to the students, if you wouldn't show your gran, don't put it on social media. Don't use social media sites in school. We don't have any issues with that, so that's pretty good. But you know, just a reminder to them: don't make comments about their school online. You know, once it's out there, and that applies to all of us. You know, not making comments about our jobs, our colleagues. Don't associate themselves with their school or their work on their profile. You know, a couple of people have been caught in the past with checking in, and then they know, or I say they, you know, everyone knows where they are, so just be careful with that. Don't link the school email address to social media accounts. Social media is for kind of personal use, if you like, so it should be a personal email address. And then we talk to them about uninstalling apps from their phone, and you know, any apps that they're not using, and then, you know, being aware that they recognise Wi-Fi connections, and make suggestions based on who else is in the same Wi-Fi connection. Again, we talk about that in our ICT lessons. And then I just thought I'd end with some quick tips. So I would say always have a lock screen. That's just number one, really. So if someone picks up their phone, they can't get into it easily and access all their data. Devices in the kitchen's quite a good one. You know, so they're not just on their phones in their bedrooms. If we all have a main room in the house, and we all, you know, parents included, we all put them in the same place, then none of us are staying awake till midnight on our apps. I would just be careful what the setup's like at home. So can you see their screen? You know, if they've got like a gaming screen or a laptop or whatever, maybe you could base it where you all are, or if it's in their room, you know, make sure that you can see it from where you are. Nothing's hidden. Blue tack over the webcam is all like a really old trick, although we don't seem to have many issues with webcam hacks and things. So next up is two-step verification. Most people, possibly myself included, have the same password or similar passwords for everything, just because it's easier than remembering 10, 12, whatever different passwords. So the two-step verification is really good, because if one of your passwords does leak, you know, an attacker could use it to access all your accounts, but the two-step verification means that it will send you a text message to then verify who you are. Obviously, I've put as a note there, do still change your password frequently. We all should be doing that at least on a yearly basis, but two-step verification is a good one to have as a side. The students are really good at this, actually. They know that if the padlock's there, then it's a secure website. So if you see HTTPS, it just means that the website you're using is encrypted, so it's secure, basically. Geolocation. We had some conversations with some Year 8 students actually just recently about some of the apps they use, and if they post a photo, let's take Instagram for instance, they post a photo, they share it, and actually if you have a little look, people could actually track where they're at using geolocation, so you can actually turn the geolocation off. and turn off the precise location settings. Again, have a little look at the slides in your own time. We'll link them, and it will kind of show you how to do that. So this one was just brought to my attention through having a conversation with some of my Year 8 students before I was doing this presentation. I said, how do your parents keep you safe online already? And a couple of them said that their parents have Guardian. I'd never heard of it before setting up this presentation, but I now know a few things. It can track your child's safety online. It can track their location. It can monitor the messages. You can get safety alerts. There's web filtering and blocking, which we use with our kids. And then you can set time limits. And the one that I thought was really interesting was this teen slang glossary, which I now know some slang terms. So what it does is it's got the alphabet. You can go through, you can have a little look at the slang term, and then see where it would be used. So ASL, I just thought American Sign Language, didn't know anything different, but apparently it's a slang term, and it can be used, I believe it stands for age, sex, location. So if someone's asking that would kind of draw up a red flag, because they're asking for your child's details. And it could be a stranger, and we just need to be a bit wary of why they're contacting your child, asking that. So yeah, just have it, even if you don't download the app, just log on to Guardian and have a look at the slang word glossary. So I taught myself quite a few slang terms. And then kind of over to you, could you sit down tonight and could you list all of the apps your child uses and all the online games they play? Or actually are you quite unaware maybe of what they're using or doing at the moment? So maybe just write yourself a little list, and then discuss with your own child and ask them if they've got any queries or questions. I ask them in lessons, and we ask them as a school, but as the parent, maybe you could ask them if they've got any kind of concerns about any apps they're using, or any worries, and just, as I said, kind of monitor what they're doing. And just thought I'd end on this one little video to show that even adults slip up sometimes.
Oh, hi, can I help?
Hot chocolate.
What's the name?
Joelle.
What was the name?
Alex.
Alex. There you go, Johnny.
If you like our Facebook page, we give you a free hot drink and a free pastry.
We have a new light for Damien.
Hey, Carly, you
Stanley, bye. Hi there, can I help?
I just liked your Facebook page.
Okay, I'll search Facebook
I'm
now.
searching Google.
Have a phone number.
I've got his email address.
Okay, Carly, are you ready for information on Damien?
Yep, I am.
Mother's maiden name is he banks with
Carly, this is the girl coming in now with the blue scarf.
What's the name? Nicholas.
Nicholas. His date of birth, 7th of May. She lives at 38A.
Just be a couple of seconds.
2 children, age 4 and 6. Previous address. She's got the postcode.
Yep, got it. Damien, age 26 and a fitness instructor.
Oh, do you know where that?
Brody, who goes to UCL. Martin, who went to South Thames College. Assistant psychologist at Great Ormond Street.
That's just... I don't understand.
Oh, better?
You know I'm a Christian as well.
Oh, yeah, we know everything about you, Martin. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Anna from Russia.
So, just to summarise, talk to your child about what they're up to online. Ask your child to make your own accounts more secure. They're actually quite savvy, it turns out, having spoken to many of them at Deer Park already. So, work with them and ask them how you can lock down some of your accounts. Use security controls on devices that link to the internet, TVs, laptops, computers, games consoles. Again, look at the guides. Keep all the equipment that connects to the internet in a family space if possible. Watch the Think You Know films. We can link those. They're really good. I'd say no internet connections in the bedrooms overnight if possible. Read the guides. Again, there's a little link to the guides. And just keep your devices up to date. If there are any questions, don't hesitate to contact us, and also if you think there's anything that we could be covering, let us know, but we'll also send out a few links and things as well. Okay, keep safe. Bye bye.